What if the transmission hidden underneath your Land Rover matters more than the engine everyone talks about? We tested the ZF8, Aisin and Jatco, and the differences went far beyond reliability. Number 3. Jatco JF506E. If you've spent enough time around older Land Rovers, particularly the first generation Freelander, you already know where this is going. The Jatco JF506E has built a reputation over the years that owners rarely forget. Some remember it for harsh shifts and delayed engagement, while many remember it because the repair bill arrived long before they expected it. What interested us wasn't the reputation itself, but whether it matched what we found on the bench. The JF506E was designed during an era when manufacturers were chasing refinement, fuel economy, and electronic control. On paper, it looked like a reasonable solution, offering 5 forward gears, electronic management, adaptive shifting, and enough capability for the compact SUVs it was designed to serve. The specifications sounded modern, but the teardown told a different story. The first thing we did was pull the pan, and the fluid immediately raised concerns. The fluid showed clear signs that the transmission had been working harder than intended. While some contamination is normal in a high-mileage transmission, the amount present was greater than we would expect from a unit intended to survive well into 6-figure mileage. The transmission was already revealing signs of wear before we had removed a single major component. The fluid analysis confirmed what we were seeing: elevated clutch material, elevated wear metals, and clear evidence of prolonged internal stress all pointed toward the same conclusion. The transmission was communicating its condition long before a complete teardown became necessary. Next came the valve body, and this is where the JF506E begins separating itself from the stronger designs in this comparison. The valve body is the hydraulic brain of an automatic transmission. Every shift depends on fluid pressure reaching the correct clutch pack at precisely the right moment, making even small amounts of wear or contamination significant. What we found was wear consistent with a transmission that had spent years compensating for its own deterioration. Several valve bores showed measurable wear. Solenoid performance was no longer operating at ideal calibration levels, and hydraulic efficiency had begun to decline. Individually, neither issue guaranteed failure, but together they produced the delayed shifts, shift flare, and harsh engagement owners frequently report. The transmission doesn't fail all at once, it slowly loses precision. The most frustrating failures are rarely the dramatic ones. They're the ones that convince owners everything has been fixed right before another problem appears. As we moved into the clutch assemblies, wear levels came back higher than expected for the mileage. Nothing was catastrophic, but that became a recurring theme. The Jatco's issues are cumulative, with no single defective part, only systems aging together. Valve body wear, solenoid degradation, and clutch wear compound together, contaminating the fluid and accelerating deterioration so that by the time issues appear, multiple faults already exist, making higher mileage ownership especially frustrating. The lockup clutch showed noticeable glazing, while heat signatures were visible across portions of the friction surface. The wear pattern suggested years of repeated engagement cycles under conditions that generated more heat than the converter could comfortably manage. Heat is one of the most honest indicators inside any automatic transmission. Components can hide wear, fluid can be changed, and adaptation values can be reset. But heat always leaves evidence. In this case, the converter was telling the story of a transmission that had spent a significant portion of its life operating under elevated thermal stress. The deeper we went, the clearer it became that adequate engineering is not the same as durability. To be fair, the hard parts remained largely serviceable. The gear train components survived reasonably well, and there was no evidence of catastrophic internal destruction. Reliability is not measured by the strongest components, but by how well the weakest ones hold up over time. The Jatco contains too many areas where moderate wear can create significant operational consequences. This becomes especially important in a Land Rover, as these vehicles are rarely treated gently. They tow trailers, travel long distances, encounter mud and steep grades, and spend extended periods operating under load. These conditions reward transmissions with substantial durability margins. The Jatco simply doesn't provide enough of one. As mileage accumulates, owners often find themselves dealing with multiple overlapping concerns rather than a single repair. Owners often find themselves dealing with valve body wear, solenoid replacement, torque converter concerns, shift quality complaints, and increasingly complex diagnostics. Repair becomes difficult because the Jatco rarely points to a single fault, increasing cost and frustration. Nothing looked catastrophic, but it aged poorly, with every component slightly more worn than ideal. It didn't fail suddenly, it became exhausted over time, revealing a lack of durability margin and tolerance for wear that shows most under demanding Land Rover conditions. The Jatco's weaknesses are not hidden. They're built into the ownership experience, which raises an important question. If the Jatco represents a transmission struggling to age gracefully, what happens when simplicity becomes the priority instead? This is where the next transmission enters the story. Number 2. Aisin AWF21/TF81SC. The Aisin represented something entirely different. Unlike the Jatco, which often seemed to be fighting its own weaknesses, this was a transmission designed around a much simpler objective: survival. The AWF21, also known as the TF81SC, appeared in the Freelander 2 and LR2 during a period when Land Rover desperately needed something dependable. The context matters because owners rarely talk about transmissions until something goes wrong. Aisin's greatest achievement may be how rarely it forces itself into that conversation. On paper, there was nothing particularly remarkable about it. With 6 forward gears, electronic controls, a transverse design, and only moderate torque capacity, nothing about the specifications suggested we were looking at a future legend. The teardown told a different story. As always, we started with the pan. The fluid wasn't perfect, but at this mileage that would have been unrealistic to expect. What stood out was how much cleaner everything looked compared to the Jatco, where friction material and wear metals were present, but nothing suggested a transmission fighting for survival. The fluid looked worked, not abused. The magnet showed contamination consistent with normal long-term use rather than accelerated deterioration. Nothing appeared alarming, and nothing suggested the transmission had spent years compensating for fundamental design weaknesses. Fluid analysis reinforced the same conclusion, with wear levels remaining well within the range expected for a properly maintained high-mileage unit. The transmission was aging, but it was aging predictably. This may sound like faint praise, but predictable aging is one of the most valuable characteristics any transmission can possess. Predictable aging is manageable, while unpredictable aging becomes expensive. As we move deeper into the transmission, the valve body continued the same story. Wear was present, but it remained consistent. Solenoid performance stayed within acceptable limits. Hydraulic stability remained intact. This is where the Aisin separates itself from weaker designs. It doesn't avoid wear, nothing mechanical does, but instead tolerates it better. The distinction is critical because many transmissions operate perfectly when new. Far fewer continue operating properly after years of service. The Aisin belongs in the second category, where parts wear as expected and it doesn't develop unpredictable faults or change behavior suddenly. The clutch packs told a similar story. Wear was visible, which was entirely expected given the mileage, but it remained evenly distributed. The friction materials showed normal usage patterns rather than evidence of localized overheating or hydraulic instability. Nothing looked abused or neglected by the design itself. The phrase matters because some transmissions punish owners for every mistake. Others tolerate occasional lapses, but the Aisin is more forgiving than most. Not invincible, just forgiving. The torque converter reinforced that impression. The lockup clutch showed wear consistent with age, but lacked the severe glazing and heat discoloration patterns that usually signal deeper problems. It looked like a component that had simply done its job through hundreds of thousands of engagement cycles. The theme kept repeating itself with no dramatic failures, catastrophic discoveries, or engineering surprises, which for an automatic transmission is often the highest compliment possible. As we inspected the hard parts, another pattern emerged. The gear train components looked healthy, with bearings in acceptable condition and planetary assemblies showing very little distress. Everything suggested a transmission that had spent most of its life operating comfortably within its intended limits. This wasn't an accident. The Aisin was never marketed as revolutionary or the strongest in its class. Instead, it focused on something far more valuable: balance. The engineers didn't appear obsessed with maximizing specifications, but instead focused on minimizing problems. The result was a transmission that rarely dominates conversations, but frequently survives them. This doesn't mean the AWF21 is perfect. Owners still report valve body wear and solenoid issues that can appear as mileage increases. Fluid degradation eventually affects shift quality, and neglected maintenance absolutely shortens service life. The difference is what happens next. Most of those issues remain manageable and repairable, and they typically stay isolated rather than spreading through the entire transmission, which makes diagnosis and repair simpler. The containment matters because it keeps repair costs lower and downtime shorter. Those strengths rarely appear in brochures but matter in real ownership, especially in Land Rovers, where costs depend on recoverability. A transmission that survives issues is more valuable than one that avoids them. Everything stayed within expectations, with logical wear and no surprises. The Aisin earned second place by delivering consistency, predictability, and quiet, proven durability over time. A dependable workhorse that survives by understanding its limits and aging with dignity rather than drama, which for many owners would be more than enough to win. One transmission on our bench wasn't just aging gracefully, it looked like it had barely started aging at all. And that brings us to number one. Number 1, ZF8 HP70/8 HP75. This brings us to the ZF. If the Jatco fought wear and the Aisin managed it, the ZF defined modern Land Rover across Range Rover Sport, Discovery and Defender. The expectations were high, the mileage was not low, and the question was simple: would the teardown justify the reputation? The ZF8 HP was built in an era of competing demands: more performance, better fuel economy, heavier vehicles, and rising electronic complexity. Most transmissions responded by adding complexity. The ZF did as well, but what set it apart was how it managed it. 8 gears, advanced electronic control, aggressive lockup strategy, fast shifts, and high torque capacity combined into one highly capable design. On paper, it looked more complicated than anything we had examined so far, and normally that would raise concerns because complexity usually multiplies failure points. The teardown bench, however, told a different story starting from the pan. The fluid immediately stood out. It wasn't perfect, no high mileage transmission is, but contamination levels were surprisingly controlled, with friction material and metallic particles remaining within expected ranges. The fluid looked like it had supported a transmission operating normally, not one struggling to survive. The pattern continued in the analysis. Wear metals remained reasonable, clutch debris remained controlled, and deterioration progressed at a rate consistent with remaining service life. The transmission looked experienced, not exhausted. This distinction matters more than most specifications ever show. Moving deeper into the unit, the clutch assemblies revealed another layer of consistency. Despite the increased number of gears and shift events, wear remained uniform, with no signs of overheating or hydraulic instability. The friction surfaces aged predictably, suggesting long-term operation under controlled conditions rather than stress-induced failure. Healthy transmissions age evenly, unhealthy ones do not, and the ZF stays on the right side of that divide. The torque converter reinforced the same theme. Lockup wear was present but controlled, with no severe glazing or heat damage, despite the heavy reliance modern calibrations place on converter lockup strategies. Even under repeated load, the wear remained within manageable limits. This wasn't a chance, it was design discipline. The valve body told a more realistic story, but not a worse one. Wear, aging and solenoid degradation were present, as they always are in high-mileage electronic transmissions, but there was no evidence of architectural weakness or systemic design failure. The issues that existed were the result of age, not inherent fragility. The distinction ultimately defines the ZF. The deeper inspection of the planetary gear sets, bearings and hard parts only strengthened that conclusion. Everything looked composed, with nothing overstressed or pushed beyond its intended operating window, as the transmission carried itself with built-in reserve capacity. The reserve capacity is what keeps vehicles alive in the real world, through towing, aggressive driving, poor maintenance and ignored warnings. The ZF appears built with that reality in mind. This doesn't make it perfect. Valve bodywear still appears, fluid still degrades, and high-mileage units can develop shift quality issues. The pattern is important. Failures tend to appear late, not early, and within an architecture that remains fundamentally sound. A weak transmission fails because of what it is, while a strong transmission fails because of what happens to it, and the ZF belongs in the second category. Owners don't usually describe it as fragile, they describe it as expensive to neglect. The difference matters because fragility ignores maintenance, while the ZF rewards it. As the inspection continued, another pattern became clear: cohesion. Every system worked in alignment. Clutch packs, gear train, valve body and software calibration all appearing built around the same objective. Nothing felt like a compromise or shortcut. It felt unified, a rare level of integration that doesn't just survive miles but understands them. Even after hundreds of thousands of miles, the transmission still showed signs of structure rather than collapse. It wasn't merely surviving, it was aging intelligently. And that is why it earns first place, not because it is simple or cheap, and not because it avoids wear, but because it manages complexity without being consumed by it. The ZF8 HP stands as the modern benchmark, blending performance, refinement, and durability without sacrificing its mechanical foundation. The Jatco struggled because it lacked durability margin, while the Aisin succeeded by embracing simplicity. The ZF wins by doing something harder than both, adding sophistication without surrendering reliability. In teardown terms, it's the difference between a unit that looks tired and one that still has something left to give. 3 transmissions, 1 Land Rover lineup, and 3 outcomes: cumulative failure in the Jatco, predictable durability in the Aisin, and controlled complexity in the ZF. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like and subscribe for more.